Hi, Dr. Matt Worthington, clinical psychologist, coming to you from Brisbane in Australia today. I've been watching a lot of videos about defunding police. I watched one before about the mayor mayor of Minneapolis who had to do the walk of shame because he wouldn't defund the police in Minneapolis, and he was outcast by the group Black Lives Matter, right? And that just goes to show really that group is not really about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, right? Equality, equity really matters, really matters. But these groups that are calling for defunding the police, they are not about Black Lives Matter. They are not about equality. In fact, it's the complete opposite. What they want to do, their real agenda, is they want to destabilise. By that, what I mean is, in this particular instance, they want to remove a force that has weapons, the police, that protects society. Right. So what's going to happen to the opposing group who are calling for the defunding of the police? What happens to the opposing group's weapons, their gangs and what have you? Do they get to keep their weapons? It's like two countries, right? Two countries both have militaries. There's a balance of power. And when there's a balance of power, there's peace generally. Yes, there's a few squabbles in here, but there's peace generally. Remove the military and weapons from one country, you've got that country is vulnerable. It's vulnerable. It leaves it open to attack by the other country, right? And the other country has a military, and therefore they can invade anytime. If both countries have militaries, sometimes a country will try and subvert and sneak into the other country and try and destroy the other country's military subversively, sneakily, right, through various means, right? This goes on at a huge level, at a meta level, right? You bring it back down again to the street level, right? It's the same thing. It's human nature, right? Human nature. There will always be one group that wants more. It's human nature. That's why communism doesn't work. It's human nature. There's always someone who wants more, but they'll veil their real agenda in seemingly legitimate causes, right? If they are successful in removing the police, that leaves society vulnerable to control by them because they will have the weapons, right? They want to control. That's the real agenda here, right? And they how they're going to get there, or how they think they're going to get there, is by manipulating the fear of being an outcast. So they'll pick key figures like politicians or whatever, and they did it with this mayor of Minneapolis, right? He refused to defund the police, and they sent him on the walk of shame, calling him a traitor and everything. And that's what they do. They manipulate your fear of being an outcast. That's how they control. That's how they do it. They manipulate your fear of being a bad person and therefore outcasted, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you are a bad person, but they make you think you're a bad person and therefore should be rejected from society. That's how they do it. That's what all this political correctness is about. That's what all this "you're a racist" is about, right? It's all about that, right? They try and sort of make you look bad, and so you fear being outcast. And they do it with politicians. They try and they'll call a politician, they'll influence a politician, right? And say, you won't get the vote, you'll be outcasted if you use this word, right? Or they'll do it to people in the street. You can't use this language because if you do, you'll be rejected by society. Well, if that's the type of society that I'm going to be in anyway, I'd rather be rejected, to be honest with you, because I'd rather have authentic people in my society who are compassionate human beings who encourage debate, not tell me what words I can and can't use. And if they're offended by the words I use, then maybe that's something they should look at, not me. I mean, I'm not talking about disrespect, by the way, although they've hijacked that word too. I'm talking about normal human respect for each other. I'm talking about debate. I'm talking about debate where an exchange of views doesn't mean that a person is racist as long as it's respectful. Debate is educational. Debate encourages, it enhances perceptions. It's important to have debate. That's what Parliament is about, isn't it? Parley, speak. Ment means state, right? A state of speaking. Speaking, debating, that's what it's about, right? Exchanges of ideas. But controlling sociopathic narcissists don't want that. They want to minimize that. They want to shut that down. They want you to agree with them. And if you don't, you're going to be outcasted. That's one of the tactics they use. They also gaslight you. They tell you up is down and down is up. And one of the tactics they're using is this, they're saying police should remove their weapons because police brutality, right? Well, does that mean that all policemen with a weapon is brutal? It's like saying, okay, there's a group of teachers who are bad. Does that mean all teachers are bad and they should be defunded and education should stop? It's like saying there's, in all human society, in all sectors of human society, there are going to be bad people. There's going to be bad doctors. Does that mean that medicine should stop and be defunded? There's going to be bad scientists. Does that mean the science should just stop? There's going to be bad priests. Does that mean religion should just stop? Pick any sector you want. Any sector you want. If there's bad firemen, does that mean we just ban the fire service? Bad paramedics, do we just ban the paramedics? There might be a few bad people in the Salvation Army. Do we just ban the Salvation Army? Do we just defund all this? They might have a few bad charities. Do we defund all charities? You might say, well, they haven't got weapons. Well, the reason the police have got weapons is because the criminals have got weapons, right? That's what it is. That's the reality. That's the reality. Human beings have weapons. It's part of our nature to feel safe, to protect ourselves, because there are human beings who are not compassionate, they don't have shame, and they don't have guilt, and they have weapons, right? Compassion, shame, and guilt are the handbrakes which stop people from doing bad things, but not everybody has those handbrakes, and therefore more likely to do bad things. So, and if they've got weapons, then, the world is a dangerous place. That's a certainty. The world is a dangerous place. The world is brutal. The truth is, the world is brutal. And anyone who tells you it's not, well, they're trying to manipulate you. They're trying to say up is down and down is up. The world is brutal. The world is uncertain. The world is dangerous. That's why we have militaries. That's why we have police forces. The world is dangerous. The world is uncertain. Get used to it, right? Get used to it. There is no such thing as utopia. The far left are trying to tell you there's not. There's not. Utopia comes from inside of you. That's the journey, right? To find utopia inside of you, right? On your journey, there are going to be some people who can't find utopia. They don't have the ability to introspect. They don't have the ability to go inside of themselves, right? They just hate. Some of them just hate, and they play on appeasers to serve their needs. They play on the naive, and they punish dissenters psychologically and physically. And they collaborate with other sociopathic narcissists, but they would eat their own, as this phrase is coming out. I like it. They would dump their own as soon as their requests are not being met. Because I can tell you now, they'll come up with him with the mayor, right? If he had have agreed to defund police, what would have been next? Denounce his parents, change his name, change his gender. What would have been next? Sit in a hole. What? How far does it go? How far does this go? Remove words, remove feelings. Watch movies like Equilibrium. Watch with Christian, I think it's Christian Bale in it, right? Watch 1984, read the book 1984. This is 1984 now, the movie by George Orwell, the book by George Orwell, playing out, right? Playing out. I've only seen the movie. The movie's brilliant with John Hurt in it, absolutely brilliant, and Richard Burton. And this is 1984 playing out right now. Read the book, see the similarities.